Hi everyone, and welcome to my 3D hair tutorial for this Hamilton-inspired Schuyler Sisters embroidery piece. Now to start with, hopefully you guys are at this stage where everything's been done apart from the base of the hair. So I'm just starting by threading my needle with the black treble thread, and I'm beginning by doing a vertical satin stitch to fill in the bottom section of Eliza's hair. Now I'm starting by evenly spacing the stitches out across the bottom section and then going back and filling them all in. This bit will be covered by the 3D hair, so it doesn't have to be too neat, it just sort of has to be like a good base. So I'm just working across the head and then going back and filling all of the gaps in. Now that we've done that section, we're going to work on the half up section of the half up, half down hairstyle by working a satin stitch across the top section of the head, going into the centre where the hairband will be. So it looks like all of the top section has sort of been pulled back into the half up, half down hairstyle. So I'm doing the same thing again by evenly spacing the stitches across the top section of the head and then going back and filling them all in, working along the hairline. Now that we've done that, I'm going to use a piece of thread the same colour as Eliza's dress and just do a horizontal stitch to create the hairband. We're going to do the same thing for the base of Angelica's hair, doing a vertical satin stitch and starting at the widest part, so obviously the middle, and then filling it all in and working our way back through it. Now that we've done that, we're going to do a satin stitch again for the base of Peggy's hair, except we're going to work all of the stitches in towards the centre section so that it looks like all of the hair has been pulled back into a ponytail. We're leaving the middle section empty so we've got lots of space to fill the curls in later on. Now that we've done that, we're going to move on to creating the long loops of thread for Eliza's hair. So to do this, I've started by double threading my needle. So instead of threading it normally and leaving a long section and then a tail, I've threaded it and then just pulled both lengths of thread at the same length. I've started by stitching down into the fabric, and then I am going to thread up next to it again, up through the fabric, and create a series of long loops of thread that I'm going to sort of secure in place with my left thumb. So just really take your time with this one because you don't want to sort of pull anything through, you don't want to sort of mess anything up, because if you pull sort of the wrong threads you can pull hair pieces out. So I'm just using my needle to even out the loops, and then I am repeating the process by bringing my needle up through the fabric like that, and then pulling it down nice and gently, using my left thumb to sort of secure it and pull it through. Now that we've done that, we're going to use a pair of thread scissors and we are just going to cut the loops. This doesn't have to be too neat because we're going to go through and section all the hair off and neaten it up in a minute. So after we've done that, I'm sectioning pieces of the hair away from the rest of it, and I'm threading through each individual strand with my needle just to separate the strands and make it look a bit less clunky, and hopefully make it a little bit more realistic. This is quite time consuming, but I would really recommend that you don't skip this step, otherwise the hair will just look a little bit too messy, and we want it to look sort of as realistic as possible. Once we've done that, we want to take our thread scissors again and just gently start trimming and shaping the bottom sections of the hair. I would definitely say to take less off than you think you want to take off to start with, because sometimes you can sort of end up taking off quite a lot and not meaning to. So I'm just doing small sections bit by bit and just brushing it through each time. Now that we've done that, we're going to work on creating Angelica's curly hair. So in each kit you'll receive 3 bamboo sticks with curled hair pieces on. Now to start with, you want to sort of gently remove it from the stick and then sort of pull it out just to even the curls out really gently. You want to be so gentle with these pieces. Really sorry for the lighting in this clip, it just kept changing. I'm not a YouTuber, but I'm just cutting it to create sort of double the length that we want the hair to be, because each piece is going to be folded over and tacked on with a stitch at the top. So I'm just really gently sort of removing it from the stick, pulling it out, and then cutting each length. It doesn't matter if these vary too much either. It doesn't have to be too neat because we're going to trim everything later on at the end. So then what I'm doing is I am going to attach each hairpiece using 2 strands of the black trebler thread. I am pulling my needle up from behind the fabric and just laying the thread down. I've then laid a hairpiece across it, and then I'm going to bring my needle up and just tack it on like this. It's really quite easy. I'm just then using my fingers to gently sort of stretch the hair pieces out, sort of fluff them up a bit, work on sort of the shape that I'd quite like. But this is really quite easy. There's not a lot to it, to be honest, and this is probably the easiest way to get sort of even curly hair, because it means that you don't have to thread anything back and forth through the fabric. It's just sort of tacking it on. And by using black thread, which is obviously the same colour as the curls, you can't see the stitches later on, so it does look as realistic as it can. So just be really careful with the curls. Just use your fingertips to sort of squish them together really carefully so that we don't sort of knock any of the curls out of it. But I'm just going to repeat the process by stretching the piece out and stitching from underneath over the top along the hairline. That's all we're going to do. Once we've sort of filled in the whole head and used all of the hair pieces, I'm going to use a couple of stitches just to secure some of the pieces that are either in sort of a wrong shape or look like they could sort of move about a bit. On either side here there are 2 curls sticking up that are really annoying me. They look a bit like ears, so they're the ones that I'm just tacking down now, just to sort of give it the shape that I'd like. If you want all the hair pieces to be a little bit more secure, you can go through sort of the whole of the top section of the head and secure all of the hair down if you wanted to. I don't think it's entirely necessary, but it definitely is something that you could do if you wanted to. So once we've done that, I'm just going to take my scissors again and just start cutting away the excess curls and shaping the hair to the desired length. Just play around with it, be really gentle, and yeah, just go for what you'd like it to look like. I'm then repeating the exact same process but for Peggy's hair. So I'm taking the hair off the cocktail stick, stretching it out and cutting all of the different lengths, and then I'm going to work from the bottom section up, doing exactly the same thing with the 2 strands of brown trebler thread, just to tack each curled piece on. And then I'm just pulling it out, just playing with it just to make sure that it's all looking how I'd like it to look, trimming away the excess. And that's all there is to it, really. It's super easy, super simple, and probably the most effective way of getting curly embroidery hair. So I really, really hope you've enjoyed creating this piece. It's been a kit that I've wanted to make for so long now, and if you have, please do let me know. Share it on Instagram, on Facebook, and tag me. It's my favourite thing to see when people create my pieces, and if you do have a second to leave me an Etsy review, it would massively help me out. So thank you so much for watching, and thank you so much for supporting my small business, and I hope you have an amazing day.